And then what I can do, what I was trying to get at, is that I can share my screen and say that so here's my like whole screen, the shared screen that I'm sharing with you, and it's in the Riverside recording. So I think that's pretty good. Yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't know how to say it, but that's what I.
I'm getting sorry.
Oh right. You're getting an echo. I muted my speakers on my computer by going into the browser. Yeah, we got it. You sound good.
Okay, so looking at the live stream, and what we've got is
Your webcam's unavailable because you're on a Mac. Okay, hello?
Still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm calling it the big lozenge eye.
Right. Oh, hey, that's cool. Okay, yeah. So I think, yeah, if we take the shared screen and then share that as a screen on Riverside, then you get the context of the shared screen and the sound and each individual video feed.
Yeah.
Right. So we good to go?
It's a bit backy. There's quite a lot to fix, but yeah.
We're good to go. Okay, so what happened then to the recording from the last one that you did in Riverside so that I can post it on YouTube? Because it's not anywhere. Shall I just download that one, the link you sent me, and just upload that?
Yeah. Did you get that when you downloaded it? Did it anything happen?
Well, no, I got a link, but I was like, well, I could just download it. Is that what you want me to do? Like download and post that one?
Yeah. Now, what I was trying to do, I was messing around to see. It's got some pretty neat editing features.
Right. So the latest link you sent me, the last one you sent me, I should upload that to YouTube, yeah?
I'll play that one and tell you if it's the latest one. If you start business of the day.
I'm not.
You can't hear.
Yeah, I know you can't hear because I muted the thing. It's gonna be loud if I do that.
I'm getting bagpipes again. Sound doesn't work. Okay, so sound doesn't work.
Just because of the way we're sharing.
Yeah, the very first thing is set the business of the day, and then it's the byte cut, and the yes, just upload that.
Okay, can you upload straight out of Riverside?
Yeah, it says you can.
It says you can post straight to YouTube out of Riverside.
So that I've not tried it because don't have don't have access to the Gcash, but Gcash Media. And
I'm gonna send that over. It's just a username and password, but
if you go to that
share doesn't do it. But I'd have to download. I guess I can download it and upload it. That shouldn't be a problem. Let's just see how.
There's definitely a way to do it. It's
That's tiny. 309 megs is nothing. Yeah. Okay, sweet. I'll do that. 309 megabytes.
Okay, so audio business of the day. Finally, screen just gets scrambled this side.
Okay. Oh well, let's not worry about that. So yeah, that was the correct one. I will upload that to YouTube. What's the name of it?
I created a name in the repo. I took that raw text and
Can you?
create a name.
Okay, so what do I name it? No.
Or if you go into the repo,
Oh God.
his name.
It's kind of. Can you just tell me the name? I mean, what the fuck is fuck?
Characters know you can want everything just shut down.
Oh dear. Okay, I'll look it up. So in the repo, but you haven't pushed it up. So is it from 3 days ago, that one? Refining. Oh shit. The attribution and contribution. Sorry, what do you want me to make this name?
Refining the attribution and impact framework.
Just like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, buddy, we got there. Whew. The life of a publisher. It's actually quite fucking involved.
Can you imagine if we had work with DC Thompson? They had literally a huge warehouse, the size of like an Amazon warehouse, with crazy metal print machines. And the stress of those guys went before the editor said, right, run the press. Because every time we did it, it's like, trying to get grand. And newspapers wouldn't arrive in the morning. I have a lot of respect for those printer guys who did the printer run.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Okay, so shall we start a session? Like, how do we signal start? I could clap 3 times.
We're on Riverside, so.
Oh, you got to start the recording. Are we recording? Oh, yeah, we are.
No, already have.
Oh, bugger. Hey. Yeah, you are. It's live. It's going hard.
Yeah. So all we need to do is I start forwards to in the transcript. The recording starts now.
What if I say the recording starts now later? I think you need a special word like rutabaga or something.
Well, you can do, but it might be,
Okay.
delete on the transcript. So you have a cumulative loop.
Okay.
Just like select delete.
All right. Commander, let's begin.
Hey, I don't actually have much commander stuff because I've been working on the tools.
I have issues to bring.
Okay, excellent.
Is there any chance I could get an avatar out of you? Because looking at this like information, like it looks like a road sign, like a traffic sign, wiggling around in the corner.
It does.
You know, like
I'm the one who's looking like a road sign.
yeah. Let me get my stuff together here.
Still saying
Lies, damn lies, and subscriptions. So I will. Should I give you a rundown of where I'm at with the code, or does that not really matter?
Yeah, it'd be interesting because I don't have much to offer in terms of the meat, just the tooling.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Why don't we? If we've got time at the end, I'll give you a rundown. I have issues to bring. Righty-ho. The primary thing I want to poke at is to get a statement, a deliverability format of the formulas of the Dreamcatcher, because that's what I understand you're working on. And so being able to say how does that look when it's done is what I'm interested in talking about. So I would expect that the outcome of that would look like this. It'd be a math spec.
Right.
That's what I'm expecting.
Question is the thing on the right, how much of this is generated and how much of this is prompted?
What's the difference between those two things?
Sorry, how much of this is by prompting your input and how much of this is AI output? So, for example, rule changes turns all records with timestamps. How do you tell about rule changes?
I chatted with it over and over and over again until it finally got it right. Took me about half a day to do this.
You were hammering it to make sure that the output was maintained, and therefore there must have been. Forgive me for talking about this.
I haven't told you about it. Yeah, no problem at all. Either way.
What's that half day like?
Was one of the most intense periods of thinking I've done in recent times. Are you asking how did I get there from like a blank prompt?
Yes.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, how I did it was I fired up the trusty mic. And I said, I just rattled off all the stuff that I sort of felt like it needed. So I simply said I need it as a mathematical formula. As a mathematical formula, I need to express the equations of the Dreamcatcher, where the Dreamcatcher is a system that comprises of attribution, contribution, and it needs to figure out the relative weights of different dimensions of contribution. For example, project management versus code construction. And I need to make it a set of formulas because we're going to use an AI to figure out the weights between the different dimensions, but I need the base math formulas first. And so, do you want the tips I learned from doing math prompting?
Yeah, just for me to not have to spend the same amount of time on the process as opposed to doing it.
That's funny. I didn't really think about that. So the key with all things to do with the bot is to not ask anything to do with format and to rely and work with the flop of the bot. So, for example, its flop is natural, is a form of LaTeX called KTeX. That's what it flops on. But for it to render in GitHub, for it to render like this, I needed to transform it to be in GitHub flavored Markdown, which is a slight editing difference. And so the general rule is let it work with how it wants, because you actually decrease the quality of the output if you try and constrain the output in any way. The decrease is not massive. Like, I think it's like 1 or 2%. Like if you use structured outputs to give it a JSON schema, the accuracy or the quality of its performance in benchmarks suffers by about 1 to 2%. But the point is that I found that trying to make it do the formatting of the math equation format I wanted at the same time as doing the logic did not have good results. So work with the flop, and then try loads of different times, like loads of different like variations on your question are good. Like, don't just think that there's going to be one. That's not what I meant, is it?
So, when you try lots of different times, how do you merge back into the final way of doing it?
Well, you kind of pick the one you like. And what I was doing was finding out, I'd read what it said and then be like, common starting point is to treat each contributor as having a blah blah weights, total contribution. Like, I might say, like, I can't find any faults in here that I'd want to say, but I'd like read it, figure out the faults, and then either expand on the first thing so that those faults didn't happen, or do a follow-up if I felt like it was at the point where I needed to tune the output. And then just like rinse it every so often, like do it again, start from scratch, feedback in. Doing like copy from here was the sort of most useful thing. Copy it there and then like feed it back in. This is I was just using largely like, voice prompting to just read through the formula and just note off things as I went. Like, this is not good. This is not good. I'm not sure about this. Expand on that. This is not at all what I recommend. I'm just I just want to show you the paste, really. So yeah, like that's the math notation it naturally falls on, and it copies well so long as you hit the copy button on the message. But I don't feel like that's teaching you anything. And yeah, like this is the same question again, and you can kind of get, you know, different fucking like really different things out, right? Same question, totally different approach, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Another tactic I used a lot was, I guess I'm talking about the prompts I use more than anything. Please give me some options and ask any questions you need answers to before starting. So getting it to ask and like drag stuff out of me was really useful because I just said what I thought and then it asked questions, and it was just like I just ramble through the voice transcription and it kind of worked, and then I just kind of muddled my way to the end. And that's why I feel like if I had a couple of days on it, I could probably get to a version of these formulas, but they take a lot of thinking and a lot of trying different things. Yeah. Shit, I'm sorry, man. I don't really have a lot more than that. That was sort of
Okay. So basically, it's rinse, wash, repeat, or whatever it is.
rinsed.
Yeah, something like that. Okay.
And
I
it,
can see how this would be made better by because we've got the context from the definitions. Context from the definitions come from the narratives and the summaries at the time and the topics and the structs. Probably not the structs that's here, but that would certainly give it.
oh, right. Yeah, some base context to start with, and you're like, these are the things, and now I need to relate them together using a formula, right?
Right.
Oh, that's perfect, actually, because theoretically, everything in the dictionary should, like, if it doesn't feed into the formula somehow, what the fluff is it doing there, right?
Right, right. And previously we know that the definitions have been rinsed and repeated by AI already.
Yeah.
So there's self-consistent, and then if there's something weird coming up here, you can look back into the definitions. Is that better? Well, it's a bit wrong, but I suspect it's not going to be wrong. It's just going to be able to hit the bullseye
Pretty quickly, man. Pretty quickly.
There you go. What is the nature of the data breach I mentioned? That's what we're asking.
Well, so
just write some prompts. That's interesting.
it doesn't take much, man. So can I try and answer these questions? Is that a good use of your time if I do that now?
All this is useful because
Okay.
because you've got a successful result, so
I have milked this result. I have milked this result so hard. Like this, it's like this is the thing. Do this thing, and everything about it is like class or correct, or it comes out good. Now, maybe I could have got that some other way, but it feels like the trick to prompting for now and forever is going to be you labor like hell to get a very, very clear statement of some kind at the very top. And so the second statement that I made today was this statement, which was everything in the API folder. I was finally able to, after what feels like weeks of fluffing around and procrastinating or head scratching or whatever, be able to implement the interface for Artifact, which is what a NAP gets given to interact with the rest of the world. So it's access to the file system, to different branches, to different processes, to different repositories, and this is the interface that it lives in. So, for example, you can see the files interface. It has like this meta level interface. It's got a read interface, so all the read operations that you might want to do on a file, all the write operations. And so now I've just been in the last few hours of this day before we started this call, I've been taking this whole API, which in this whole folder, I believe it to be correct. Like I hand picked it with a combination of prompting and all that, but I basically hand checked it, curated it to be like, okay, that is the interface. And now I've just been feeding it back into the bot to apply it in the MoneyWorks synchronization piece. And so I'm like, this is how this bit works and that bit works, and make me this bit or think about how this piece might work. And so if you have this one critical piece that defines what finish should look like. So for us, when Artifact is fully operational, this interface will be backed by Artifact. But I don't have Artifact. I need to get there. But this thing shows what everything needs to do to come together to make happen. And so this is what I plan to use. Instead of using a math spec, I use an interface spec with sort of documentation on it and say, this is what we're making. And then I pick little bits, the next bits that I want to make next.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
It's also been by far the best to start from the bottom up. So start from the leaves up, because that's sort of top down, and there's too many options for how the leaves could go. But if you get the finished piece how you want it, as like because being able to say an interface or a mathematical specification is like, you'll know when it's done, but it isn't, that thing is by no means doing the task. It's just the requirements or the docs, the specification of the task. And then you start down the very bottom and get all of the leaves to be like exactly as you want them, and take your time to get them right. Then like filling in the middle bits is like it renders way better with less inaccuracy, because there's no freedom. Like the bottom is how you want, and the start is how you want, and the end is how you want, which means that the way through the middle is limited. Like you've constrained it a lot. So that's where I got to. I know. That's where I got to after a lot of struggling and a lot of heartache. But oh no, I was just going to start going back to the answering the questions. So yeah, you had something else on that topic?
Well, I'm usually, for me, I don't have any questions or contraindications. I love this approach, and I'm just quite keen to apply that to the last calls we've got are really information dense.
Right. Cool.
I think that is context into found a
Cool.
solution which remained my number one priority.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions? So basically, you've been muddling around.
Yeah, a lot. Like
You're
I would be one of those guys that.
discovering this. I know what I want, and I'm going to pour some stuff in the top. And
Yeah.
I'm going to ask. Well, that
Yeah.
zero in on that one.
Yeah.
Refine towards your goal.
Yeah.
That process seems to be fairly.
And don't be afraid to bin it all. Don't be afraid to bin it all because it didn't cost much to generate in the first place. There's plenty more. There's plenty more intelligence where that came from. So, but yeah, if we could capture this kind of process into tooling on our platform, we would be unstoppable.
So I've got one practical question.
Yes.
Retech versus K-Tech. So what gets committed? And what
Just
prompts at any point saying,
just commit the flop, like commit the KTech or whatever it is that comes out. Once you're happy with it, it won't render at all for you. But then in a separate, totally clean thread, grab that and just say convert this into GitHub Markdown. Here are the docs for GitHub formatting, which I did put somewhere.
Surely you must know that.
No, because it's beyond the knowledge cutoff. It was a recent feature.
That knowledge cutoff is getting later.
That's how time goes.
However, that's a 4.0. So one thing I've been doing is what the latest but not very smart thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
It doesn't. So that is just a reformatting, and you can tell it what to look for, and it'll go out and scrape it, get it, and do it. And the interesting thing about doing that, or basically that's a transformation from one format to another. Don't mess with it. All I want is a format change, and 4.0 does that every time. It's pretty good.
That's really good, buddy. In the meantime, here is the doc that you can concat in and give to the bot to get it right. Just in case. Okay, now I'll go back to answering those questions if that's okay with you.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see this live.
Okay, so to answer your questions, what is the nature of the data for each dimension? Categorical or continuous? Look, I don't know. I mean, it's basically we want to capture usage of the system, tasks, so commits for code, project management effort. All of our bookkeeping is done in plain text files, and so the contributions are captured in a repository for the project. All activities on all dimensions are captured there in text data. You might want to check with me and generate some sample data, or maybe we could make an agentic system to create some simulated data so that we can play with it. Question 2, the contribution dimensions are what comes from the all contributors emoji key. So all contributors is a system of recognizing contributors to an open source project in a way that rewards every contribution, not just code. The basic idea is that they have gone to great lengths to identify a number of dimensions, and then they've specified those dimensions in the emoji key. The emoji key lists things like audio if someone's making a podcast, bug for bugs reports, docs, finding funding, ideas, infrastructure, tutorials, user testing, etc. So those are the dimensions. We want to constrain it to something that's well known just to start with. And we can sort of lean on them as saying, well, that's why we chose these dimensions. There needs to be a way to add new dimensions at some later point. But yeah, those are the dimensions for now. Number 3, do you have a target variable for the overall performance, or do you just want relative members? I have no idea what that question means. You'll need to ask that in a better way. Number 4, how do you plan to handle correlations between dimensions? I don't. That's your job. Give me some options. It's sort of how my day went. I just say as honestly as I can what the answer is. Like, I don't have to.
Of interest, just frankly, of interest. If you were to, you can add to that, can't you? If you were to, if I were to speak now, would my audio be captured in your session?
Try it.
So if I were to speak now, would my audio be captured in this session?
I think so. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
You want to say something? You want to say something?
Yes, on the how different dimensions correlate, we do understand that that is something that needs to be done. But first, we need to get the correlation between different contributions within one dimension. There also needs to be some step such that the dimensions and the weighting between those dimensions are agreed on and not changed on a whim.
All right. So, what did you start with saying? Because you sort of started talking and I hadn't pushed the button. On the question about how. You okay there, bud? Just dying. A bit of coke. What kind of a meeting is this?
I'm coughing. I'm not sniffing.
All right.
Okay,
So
in the previous questions, you can pull those back.
Yeah.
You scroll a bit. Right. What's the nature of each dimension? Yeah, you covered that. How many contributions? Okay. How do you plan to handle correlations between dimensions? So delete what I just said and let me add into that.
So delete this here, and you're going to say something. Is that right?
Just to see if this is, I'm seeing if this is a process that we can actually rely on.
Okay, you're on.
So in your question about how different dimensions correlate between each other, there needs to be some method where people who contribute in one dimension and people who contribute in another dimension feel that it is fair how the weightings between those dimensions are weighted. The whole point of the dimensions are to individually weight between contributions and then weight between dimensions in order to result in the number 1, which is then divided between the different contributions for the attribution algorithm on an event such as earning money.
And where do you want that inserted? Do you want it tacked on to after what I said, or to replace it, or as a new message?
Let's let this run.
So let it run, and then we're going to put it in here. or we're just going to decide after.
This is more of flight tests to see how awkward that was. It felt quite awkward.
Why did it feel awkward?
I think probably because I've been talking to you, and then I'm talking to the bot, but the bot is not your bot. It's not my bot. It's your bot. I don't.
I just find that it's so much easier to speak than it is to type, because it's a lot. Otherwise, it's a lot of typing, and the typing takes longer because you kind of feel like you need to get the typing correct in a way, but in the talking.
Yeah, and you do things like I've got the spelling wrong, and it's like backspace 5 times.
Yeah, and then you kind of tend to read over it and then want to edit it and change it, and then you change a paragraph at the top, and now it doesn't make sense together. I think the most effective way to communicate is just a straight up brain dump of whatever's in your head as it happens in your head while you're reading it, and that's it. It's fast. It covers everything.
Your vision to be converted. Remember what I was saying? It's over a year ago now. My ideal is I just walk up and down inside the hut and talk to the bot. Never touch a keyboard again. We're getting quite close. Right, let's come up with.
Do you want me to? I'll spin the wheel on this one anyway, and then if you decide you want to edit it, then yeah.
Yeah, just do it because it's just for.
Oh, right. So all these would have been answered by your.
It's already answered it. Yeah. Oh, you clever. Do you have any concept of success? No, it's not success. It's impact. Impact may be unsuccessful. Success may be negative. What do you deal with negative success?
I don't know about Bayesian anythings, so I'd have to learn that whole field.
Is that like Bayesian curves?
I just told you I don't know. Yeah, this would actually, your statement here would have answered it. It's like you're just looking for that ratio that sums to 1. Fairness, that's good. Anyway, I mean, this is all it is me just doing that and like dialing up and down the scope. Like I'm like trying to. Sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe dealing with a long one dimension, I can separate that out and I can focus on that in isolation, and then I can deal with the multiple dimensions thing separately, and then when I've got those 2 bits looking good, then I'll join them in the prompt and then talk about how to relate them. So it's not like clear cut modularity, but it is a form of sloppy or fuzzy modularity, because I get 2 things I like and then put them together and get a 3rd thing that I like.
Yeah, but not but and because I agree with what you just said. There is an opportunity here, of course, to put this process that you just described, being really a natural language, into a bot that helps you talk to other bots.
Yeah, because it should be something. It's almost like your prompt needs to come into a staging area where there's like a O1 grinds on it for you and says, well, here's a nicer version of your prompt. what about this, what about that before you send it off. So it's like a preamp on the usefulness or the correctness or the intelligence of your prompt.
Yeah, and this is something separate from the plan. There's a bit like paired programming or paired prompting, where your pair is an AI.
Yeah, there's
So
also
it just watches to say, "Ah, you missed something there." You know,
yeah, which is easy to
you follow
do.
that.
I sent you a thing to it was about meta prompting that OpenAI put out. I don't know if you read it. I didn't actually send it. I didn't send it through. That's why you don't have that. My bad. Let me get that now. That there is a lot of work out there about how to amplify your prompts and how to edit your prompts as well. So, yeah, it's just some tips. I'll pass it over anyway. You may find it interesting, you may not. But that's really, you're right. I think that the future is these prompt assistants. So you have like this, the first stage amplifier. The raw is just you just blurt it all out, and then there's like a first stage amplifier that sort of works to increase the quality of your prompt, and you can go back and forth with your peer prompter to get like a really good prompt, and then you run it, and in the background, the models should be grinding away on different versions of your prompt anyway, because it's like, well, he could have meant this, or this, and so it should start 3 concurrent threads that go off and do those things, and then it allows you to see them if you like one of them, or it will assess it itself if you don't look and be like, this is good, that's good. And basically it means that this process we're going through here can have a lot of the labor removed, because the redoing and the re-editing and the looping around is like, I kind of want it to help me. And you saw how different the responses are when you just spin the wheel 2 times. It should do that for me. It should run it 10 times and look at all the results and go, okay, here's the unique bits or the interesting bits.
Yes.
Like it should self-reflect. No matter how good the reasoning gets, it will always give you a radically different answer each time, but within limits. I would be surprised if for most questions you run it 10 times, you probably get 5 unique, like the answers will start to repeat or be groupable. They'd be going down a certain angle.
I'm looking at this almost like, say you've got your peer prompter, whose job is to help you refine prompts and ask the right questions, and then digest the answers. But it's not actually concerned in doing the work. It is like your programmer who's saying, practically, remember this thing 5 minutes ago. You should ask that. Or here's my results. Or what I think is, oh, that's interesting. These are common to all my results.
Yeah, but it should be doing a lot of that for you, just sort of in the background without needing you to even, like, it just happens, and then it gives you the best of the best as the output.
Yeah. With references though, because there, I think there's a lot of value in the fact that you had to put in the brain time. The question is, where do you point your brain? So if if you were to run the same prompt 5 times and get 80% of the answers mean the same thing, with just formatted differently, or they've got different wording, but they mean the same thing, ignore those 20%, then you'd want your peer programmer to go and say, okay, that's interesting. This is a bit too.
That's right. Yeah, so that's that. I mean, that's really all I wanted to discuss with you is that there is a packaged format for what the output of this task looks like, and I would greatly appreciate a description of the task in terms of a stuck somehow, because that
Well, I'll get Commander to create stuff.
Yeah, that's important. Sorry. Because you don't have an avatar. I can't see what you're doing with any of your stuff. The road sign just says the same thing all the time. The reconciling on the stuck between the two of us is critical, because no matter what you do or don't do in pursuit of it, it is an open problem. And, like agreeing what the problem is and what the finished format looks like, I think is very useful work anyway. And then it allows us to try and come at it from different angles, as well as publish it and allow others to try and get at it too. Because we're like, well, that's the thing we're trying to do. Finally, that's the thing. If you can solve this, we're pretty confident that we can embed it into a running system and implementation, and we can, expose it to the world. So, have at it. All right. So
I'll do that today, and I'll also take the last two transcripts through this process and see how far I get. But most importantly, see how far I don't get. That's always more interesting.
I'm fucking pretty sick of not getting somewhere. Yeah, but it's interesting to share these sort of experiences back. It's not apparent until I start to explain it to you. Then I'm like, yeah, I did actually pick up a few skills in all my struggles. Like, that's not how you start doing things. Put it that way.
The thing is, capturing these is quite useful, because also with your programmer, if you're to say, this is the process, and even describe the process you described to me, the natural ambition willing process, it can keep prompting you. Looking at the threads that you can see, so it can see what you can see, but it's not having to figure it out itself. It's still thinking about the process that your task that you're trying to do. That seems quite an interesting.
A helper, right? Like an amplifying helper.
Right. It's pattern. Having a peer AI watch you, and not in the chat, but give suggestions and so on, I think would speed up the process that you had to go through manually, because you're not infecting the thread.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then, yeah, right. The thread then, because it's more able to be forked at each point, the trouble with the way ChatGPT presents is that it's hard to maintain trees of possible. The final thread is hard to get to, because you might want to pursue multiple different paths from a different junction that you liked, and you should be able to work to go down these multiple paths, collapse them, and mess around with them, because you're really trying to chart a course from like A to B via like this step, no, backtrack, no, new thing, blah blah. You're trying to like almost do a random walk, but the tooling needs to help you with that. Like it should be able to light up the doors. The truth is like, well, you got A, B, C, or D. Like I didn't even know I had A, so thanks for that. And then it should be drawing on all your contacts and all your friends and everything. And now you're sort of walking this maze. And then when someone else comes along to get them up to speed, because there's something I'm starting to loathe, is people giving me a chat that they've had. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Like, but a tree that was compressed and reasoned and had been labored for and had burnt a lot of tokens to compress it down, and now like, here's my tree. And I can look through it and I can see the paths they took and didn't take, and I can see the all the alternate routes and all the things, and I can be like, oh, you missed this other bit up here, you could have taken that, or I might want to take it, or like it makes the chat now I can build on it. Because if if at any given point there's possibilities for your peer programmer and you to go down, that also means that collaboratively you could be doing branching on the same node in real time with me, where the same set of collapsing rules and reasoning rules are applying. And so we're really able to dance all around the tree and then like explode out the possibilities and refine what we like. And then it's a peer effort, because we've got so much knowledge about the subject that we can be both inputting to the tree at the same time, surely.
Yes, yes, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Of course, consistency can always be maintained because, another bot is looking at, okay, so I've just bought, create this new thing, have you broken anything? That's back terms test.
Hmm.
And then we can add in, well, I've been doing it this way, but the outside world is always already bolted.
Right, submit a search. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's yeah. All right. Shall we call it a night there?
Yeah, because I'm quite keen to start playing some of these.
Okay.
You've experienced.
So what do we do? How do we do? Hey, look, the Riverside webcam blocks all my screens. What? What? Well, we are. I can hit stop. Shall I hit stop? Okay, it went stop. I'm 99% uploading. It's funny, like it blanks. It blanks all the screens, including the shared one in the webcam. Oh, there was a button called Add Marker that we could have used to start the recording. I did. I clicked on. clicked on stop. It just says it's uploading and it's 99% done. I think I just have to wait. Yeah. If only you could share your screen. Can you share it in the recording? Or no? Right. Right. Yeah, it's weird. It still says it's.
You've stopped your side.
Yep.
Still saying it's recording my side, but
Have you stopped? Have you stopped? Right.
it's not working. Again, we join. So
Yeah. Oh, here we go. There you go. Hey, buddy.
then I'm going to do an end session. Wrong.
Yeah.